Well, the government may not want to talk about how he eased the lockdown, but others are. Gerard Lyons was Boris Johnson's economic advisor when he was London mayor. He's now chief economic strategist at NetWealth and senior fellow at Policy Exchange. He's written about how a staged exit from the lockdown might work. I asked him if he was worried about the lockdown seeming limitless.
Yes, I am concerned. Let's say first and foremost that the lockdown has worked. It's clearly been successful. It's kept the virus under control. It's reduced its infection rate, and hence it's stopped more people losing their lives. But at some stage, the lockdown must finish. Now, I'm conscious of the fact that the lockdown probably has to continue for the next week or two. We need to be clear that the virus has been brought under control. And on the continent, one or two countries that have started to unlock have looked at the infection rate more or less falling to half of its peak. So the trigger needs to be determined as much by medical factors as by broader issues. The key issue in terms of the paper I've produced with Professor Paul Ormrod is that we argue the case for unlocking in the gradual and predictable way, both to keep the virus under control, but at the same time to bring the economy back to life.
OK, so the trigger you suggest is when the infection rate is at half of its peak.
Well, yes, but then the medical experts will have clear insights. That's just one suggestion because some other countries have used that. But there's no doubt that the trigger must be a trigger that will satisfy the medical experts and their feeling that the virus is past the worst.
And you're suggesting that that might happen in about a week or two?
Certainly in the next few weeks, all the indications are that that is the case. One of the key issues here is that epidemiological models, they're scientifically robust and they've served us very well. They justified the lockdown. They don't take into account behavioural responses. Behaviours are essential in the unlocking phase. And what Paul Ormrod and I have done is incorporate behaviour, so economics and social science, alongside the actual science. And that suggests that we need to unlock when we're confident that we're past the worst of the virus, but then to do so in a way, as I say, that keeps the virus under control but allows the economy to start to revitalise. An issue that's not always appreciated is the importance of behaviours. So what we have proposed is a traffic light system, red, amber, green, easy to understand, sense of direction, and gives hope for the future.
OK, so give us an example of how that would work, that traffic light.
Small shops start to reopen. Schools and nurseries can start to reopen, although schools need to be given discretion. We then move to the amber phase, and there people still have to be cautious. We allow people to use private car journeys. We start to allow more shops to open. We ensure that while public transport's moving back to life, masks must be worn. And it's only when we get to the green phase that it's almost back to normal. But the important thing is that each of these phases needs to last about 3 weeks or so that we can assess the effectiveness.
Are you surprised that the government isn't giving more information to manage expectations in this predictable way that you're talking about?
The government is now about to come up with their unlocking strategy. Clearly, it's a difficult situation. I'm constructive in terms of my view about the government because this is an unprecedented situation. But I think more openness, more transparency will be called upon because it's important to continue to influence behaviours. But it's also vital to recognise that we need to bring the economy back to life. That it's not just in terms of GDP figures, the big fall, but we've seen other health issues linked to the lockdown, increase in social violence, increase in mental illness, increase in loneliness. So all of these in terms of livelihoods as well as lives are very important to be considered.
Gerard Lyons.